If you call me,
something's wrong with my chair.
You call me, it's your ass. If you call me at 6 o'clock hour and ask for a request, between 6 and 7, I play a request every morning. I played some Bob Marley yesterday. I'll get after it a little bit.
I think they're streaming KCast at the gym. I swear.
Don't swear.
God, gosh.
Swear to gosh.
I'm telling you, man. It's the I hear KCast music at the gym. It's the same play. Someone's ripping off your playlist is the problem.
I know. UAB does it. I know. There's a lot of people playing the music, and then they're not giving us props. So it's okay. It's all right. We know where we're at.
Just need a steak.
I don't feel like you play enough Three Dog Night.
Don't play any Three Dog. Don't play a Three Dog Night. It's too old.
Dude loves Three Dog.
Too old.
Yeah, you go. You go. Find yourself a girlfriend. Hold hands in Outland Park and listen to "Joy to the World." I'll play classic rock.
What about
Shambhala?
Yeah.
Or One.
That'll be our next format when we do our song.
What?
I don't like that song. I love Three Dog Night. I don't like that song.
Did you know 1.3 Dog Night was making more money than the Rolling Stones and the Beatles combined?
Really?
They were the biggest live act period in the world. They were huge.
They have really good music.
They were huge. I like their music. It just doesn't.
Just too old. Classic rock, but not this format.
No. It's classic rock. Just doesn't fit what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like if you were listening to.
He's got a whole. We've done this a million times.
You play CCR?
I play John Fogerty. I don't play CCR. It's too old.
So I've told
I only play a select number of Beatles songs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't fit. I listen to it. It's Hall of Fame. I go, Kenny Stabler. I can name somebody. Eli Manning, Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And if you have if you have to wait a minute, then it's no.
Tim Tebow?
If you're like, no, of course not.
I don't know. He's going to be a tight end.
Not unless he's in the Gay Hall of Fame.
No,
him and Urban Meyer can go hold hands.
Whoa.
Jesus did
you
not
see how many
like
times? See how many times Tim Tebow goes into the concussion tent, and see how many times Urban Meyer follows him in there for 20 minutes.
Look at you. We were just.
I love Tim. I don't like Urban.
I agree. I love Tim. I don't like Urban.
Speaking of couples, this Ben Affleck J-Lo thing I think is really fascinating. I don't get into celebrity stuff a whole lot, but this is perfect because from a psychological standpoint we're looking at. And I'm wondering, Matt Damon was on a show yesterday.
It was national. It was like the Today Show or something.
They showed a picture of him, and he's like, you couldn't give me enough vodka to comment on that. I'm not doing it. Of course, him and Ben are best buddies, and they've won Academy Award. And then he did say, listen, I will say this. I love both of them, and it would be really cool. It would be awesome to see them back together again, And so that's kind of cool. So we'll see what happens. And then A-Rod yesterday was asked about it.
Poor A-Rod.
Did you see what he said?
No, I didn't.
Go Yankees. We know Ben Affleck's a huge Boston Red Sox fan.
Right.
Ben will not wear any Yankees apparel. Even in a movie he was supposed to do, he would not wear a Yankees hat.
That's interesting.
And so A-Rod said, go Yankees, whatever that means. Evidently, he's incredibly distraught. We mentioned this yesterday. You get what you sow.
Yeah.
He's been kind of playing around for a long period of time, and I don't wish anything bad upon anyone, but this makes sense to me that J-Lo's kind of leaving him high and dry. And then I started thinking to myself, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Rachel and Ross, my brother and his first wife. We can even take it to
okay.
There's couples that we want to see stay together, or get back together again, because on the outside end we're like, there's Brad and Jennifer is another. There's like a million of them, and we're like, man, I can't believe they're not going. It'd be like if Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell broke up. It'd be like, oh, what's going on?
That's
the world is over. Dude, if these two can't make it work, and they're not even married, so I'm wondering to myself, why? Because we're not in that relationship. We don't know what happens. Right. We see it from the outside, and we think we know this couple, and we think they're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
Courtney Cox and David Arquette. There was one of those relationships that was kind of weird, but it seemed like it worked for us, and it really bummed us out when they broke up. So why is that? Why do we
Michael
think?
And Lisa Marie?
No.
So I think that, and you may confirm or deny this.
You never know.
I think that especially if they work together on a project and they get together, what happens is when they're working, they build this pseudo romance on set.
Yep.
And then once they get off set, they're happy there, but they really don't know each other.
So does
You know
that
what I'm
happen?
saying?
We've talked about.
It's called a showmance.
So are you saying that
showmance.
are you saying that we want to see them if we see them working together on film and there's a lot of chemistry there and it works out really well? We want to see that in real life for
No,
them.
I'm saying that they between them two build a pseudo.
And sometimes it does. I mean, Brad did a movie with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, I mean, you see
right.
that all the time. So I've always been interested in this. I have a couple friends. You're an actor. I have a couple friends who are actors, and I've always wondered about that the ability to
separate.
Well, or to go the other way, to fall in love on the set. I mean, to fall in love as part of the character. To have all this, I don't know how you turn that.
Sometimes
off.
you don't. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't
it
know
happens.
how you ever turn it off.
It happened to that other actor, the one that was seen. He was doing a movie with the gal. They were gone for a long period of time, and he came back, and the wife was like, it was just a movie, and next thing you know, they had a love affair. I mean,
I don't know how your brain.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Is it
got to be very difficult?
Is it possible? Because it is. It is this.
Because great actors should have great chemistry. I mean, that's part of what you do.
You got to be believable.
But but I mean, if you're a good method actor or you are really good at building chemistry with someone maybe you don't even like, and then there really is chemistry there,
that's what I'm
I would
saying.
think it'd be undeniable.
But you just said, if you're building chemistry and it's real chemistry, then it's real chemistry. So I think that the transition out is probably extremely hard.
Well, much like if you're going to do a movie about a meth addict and you want to learn about how meth works without using actually meth, or a coke addict, or a person who smokes, and they're trying to take on a depressed person. We saw that with Heath. You see people. So if you're going to do that, then why? Or you're losing a lot of weight to look like you're on an island. Why wouldn't you do that with a female or a male that you're doing
but the
a
difference
movie
is
with?
if
Right?
you're doing it by yourself, then it's just you and your life. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't know how you create the chemistry and then uncreate it. Right, and then make it go away.
Well, that's what makes you an actor.
I know, but that's why.
Well, that's what it is, though. I mean,
I know. So then that's why they're. But like you said, there is this, and these actors are obviously these are the most professional of the professional. What happens?
Well, I think that mentally you have to, and I've never done that. I've never had the opportunity to do this, but I know the technique.
You want to.
Sure. You have to separate the character that you're playing and the actual you. You have to somewhere in your mind try to create that this is a separate person that's in love.
Okay,
I'm not in love,
right?
Sure.
But John is in love.
Oh, dude, that's hard.
Oh, it's very, very. I mean, think of method actors like Daniel Day-Lewis that take on the role outside of when he's not.
It affects them.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to affect them.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about it. It took me a while to get over that particular role.
That's right. So, by the way, I brought this up with the fam about the.
Okay, real quick though, before we move on, don't tangent here because we haven't talked about what I wanted to talk about. Why do we want to see these couples get together? Why is it important to us for Ben Affleck and J-Lo? Because we don't know them. We don't know their situation. But
they just represent. I mean, they represent a couple that we would see in daily life. What I mean by that is they look good together, right? I don't mean that they're pretty. They look like a great fit. He looks kind of dad-like, and she's beautiful. So think about outside of celebrity, right? And you see a couple that's dating, and you're like, God, they'd be great together, right? And then what we see, and then they get married, and you're like, they're so wonderful. They're the perfect couple.
Yeah.
Then they get divorced, and then it happens to everybody. We're like, oh my God, crap. We had no idea. So I mean, all I think that's happening in celebrities is just a larger. Oh man, I'm gonna get a little psychic. It's called an archetype. It's an archetype. It's a larger archetype. Mm-hmm. It's a symbolic representation of what we want to see in everyday life. It's just that millions of us get to see them. So that's exactly what it is. And the flip side happens too when we see bad couples. I'm think of a bad couple.
Tina and Ike.
Well, no, I didn't. I was going Lisa Marie and Michael, right?
Oh,
and you kind of like, that, Sure. And in fact, when it's a bad couple, or not bad, but it's not a good fit, and they say, no, we really are in love. What do we all do? No, you're not. You'll never make it. It'll never happen. So, I mean, I think that's the whole thing particularly with Ben Affleck and J-Lo. Ben Affleck has, even though he's had problems, but everybody's got problems, he's got that normal guy look.
Well, he's done roles we like.
Yes.
We know him as a guy that
You're right.
he's
His
not a
roles are
serial killer in his roles.
That's
He's
right.
a lovable, likable guy.
And he's not a superhero.
Good Will Hunting was a movie
Yes.
that everyone saw, and we
Matt
like.
Damon. Matt
Yeah,
Damon would be a good guy.
yeah, we like him.
Right.
You know, we want to see good women come into George Clooney's life.
Yes.
Because we like him. He's a good guy.
That's
Brad
right.
Pitt, another guy.
Yes.
He's one of the fun guys, and so we want to see him hunker down with a good gal.
That's exactly.
But we see him playing characters. We don't see him as
No, but we.
we think some of that
Right.
crosses over.
That's exactly like none of us know.
That's
any
why
of them.
Macaulay Culkin couldn't do The Good Son or whatever that movie was he did after Home Alone where he was killing people. It's like it doesn't make sense. It's like it's like Jim Carrey doing a serious role. It's like we love Jim Carrey
but you
because he's
know
funny.
crossed over?
Oh, I will disagree. Comedic actors are the best dramatic actors out
I'm not
there.
saying they're not, but we don't like that as a person. When you see a comedian, they're a comedian. That's a great actor
You know who
because he
crossed
did a serious
over?
role.
You know, who crossed over. I think better than almost anybody's Robin Williams.
Oh, Robin Williams is
No, but you know, I mean, he was Mork from Ork,
Yeah,
right.
and then you know,
well, it was fantastic.
But I do think it is exactly. This is why we go see movies, right? We want to see in them what we want our lives to be like, and I don't mean just the glamour and the glitz, right? We want to see a nice couple together because it makes us feel good. Now the flip side happens too. There's always the haters. Right there, we talk about that. Oh, look at them! They got everything, and they're perfect. I bet they're going to get divorced. I bet he's going to.
But we do think that movie roles do exemplify or dictate a little bit of who that person is. Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
He's a mob guy. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not really a mob guy, but he's played in so many. Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci is stereotyped into every mob movie there is.
Right.
It's because he's a mob guy, and we think that he's got a little bit, just by the way he talks,
Right.
by the way he looks, where he was born, his ethnicity, and all those things. And so you look at people, Heath Ledger. You look at some guys who have played some absolute schizophrenic creeps on television, we think they're a little weird.
well, of course.
I think that also the Hollywood star is the big time movie star is kind of dying. Like back when I was little, I remember wanting to go see the new Tom Cruise movie or the new George Clooney movie, but you don't say that anymore. You're like, oh, I'm going to go see the new Marvel movie.
That's
you
right.
don't really talk about who's in it or the main. You don't go see the new Will Smith movie. You just go see the new movie. You know what I'm saying? Like
I wanted to see a Tom Cruise movie because he always played cool.
right,
roles.
but that movie star, that type of movie star, I think is dying. That old school. You're going to see the movie because of that actor. You're not going to see it because it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's the movie with that actor in
Right.
it.
What
Yeah.
happened?
But although with Tom Cruise, now I don't think it's cool at all to say you're going to see a Tom Cruise movie
It's
just because
not
he's
very
free.
convincing.
No, he
I
just
mean,
plays-
he's
oh,
You go
almost
Mission
60 years
Impossible
old.
12 or Son of Mission Impossible.
It's just
you know.
formulaic. I mean, it's formulaic. If you're
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, we always talked about it. It's always the same thing, which is I want to be in the movie, I want to do something exciting, and I want to have the girl.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think we get fascinated. We have said this. We get fascinated because it's the only way that we collectively, as a society, if you will, can look out at a couple that we all can see. Right, and I think that's the difference. Is you're talking about your friends are getting married. I don't know your friends are
And
getting married.
I think it's important for your everyday Joe to see a couple break up and know that it's possible that they could work through it and get back together again. Like Jay Cutler and his ex-wife.
Are they back together?
No.
Oh.
But I mean, I think a lot of people would like to see that happen because it gives not hope because I got problems or you got problems or we
Yeah.
but it's neat to see people reconcile. We want to give each other a second shot. We want to realize despite all their moles and distractions in their life and even their celebrity part that they can possibly make it work, and we think that's cool.
Well, it also makes us feel better about the world,
Yeah.
right? If it all is working out, this is always this. If it all works out, then we feel better about ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is why when it doesn't work out in the movie, then we say it's just a movie.
Yeah.
When it does work out, then we have faith back in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got any
Who
more
in
to say.
Hollywood, if you saw out somewhere, what actor would you fangirl over or fanboy over? Is there one actor out there that you would be like, holy moly?
You mean like
If you saw him in a restaurant or if you saw him, if you
Oh,
pulled
well,
up
there's a
on
lot
him,
of
there's a lot of them.
that you would freak out on?
Well, I don't freak out.
I mean, I'd have to go meet Julie Andrews just because I'm a Julie Andrews
She's
freak.
dead.
No, she's not.
No.
She's alive. I mean, I think there's a lot of celebrities. I mean,
Yeah.
JP Dice. If I saw JP Dice
No,
sitting
I
in
mean,
Buffalo
like,
Wild
so-
Wings, I'd have to go over and say hi to him.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Well, that's how we felt about you. Like, look,
I don't know if I'd bother them.
them.
I think there's only a couple where I'd have to honestly go and say,
You'd gawk though.
yeah,
But you'd gawk.
and they're used to being gawked at. They're good.
No, I mean, like, Jennifer Aniston, because I got a crush on Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
But any of those, I mean, if Brad Pitt's there, I'd be like,
Yeah.
That's Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
They're just normal people, Tony. They put their pants on one leg at a time.
They don't wear pants.
Oh.
No, they wear Spanx. Terry Crews, speaking of couples, and again, this is one of those situations where we want to see couples stay together for a long period of time, because if you can do it in Hollywood, we certainly can make it work here, right? Terry Crews, who's of course on America's Got Talent. He was a former NFL guy, bodybuilder guy, does all the deodorant commercials and all those guys. Big Trump black dude, yeah.
Yeah.
He was doing his television show, and his wife evidently was in the crowd, and people were talking about, you guys got an amazing life. You've been together for 30 years. He's been one of those guys that was a nobody, played in the NFL, had some celebrity thing.
That's really interesting.
And when you see someone go to the apex of celebritydom and come back down and stuff, and then keep their marriage intact. Tom Hanks.
I was just
Tom Hanks and other guys, like, wow, if they can keep it together,
Tom
Hanks
Hanks is
amazing.
if they get divorced, this is why people flip
Now,
out.
she was a movie actress too, so you kind of understand, John Travolta and his ex or his widowed.
I've heard recently that it's just known he's gay.
Yeah, well, who he hangs out with. He's on his jet every time I get on Facebook.
Are you going to call?
No, so Terry and his wife decided to write a book about how they kept their marriage together.
That's really good.
And he's like, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to divulge a lot of information about our life and stuff that a lot of people don't know about.
Yes.
And she was really uncomfortable with that. She's like, we're going to have to rip off a lot of Band-Aids, and they've done therapy, and it's going pretty good here. Why would we want to go back and look at all the things that we did in our marriage? And he admitted in this book that's coming out that he was addicted to porn. He said early off in his relationship with her, she would be coming home. He'd tell her to stay away. He's like, don't even come home. I'm not in a good place. I don't need to see you right now, because he could not stop looking at pornography.
That's bad. Yeah, that's bad.
And eventually he ran into a friend of his. It was that epiphany moment, that one moment that every addict would love to have.
Right.
It's just not real, not for most people. But the guy basically said, listen, the only way you're going to get through this is you need to start taking care of you. Okay. We all hear that. The only way you don't do it for her, don't do it for your kids, don't do it for your job, don't do it for your career. Do it for you. You need to love you first before you can grow.
I know.
And for him, it worked. Okay, I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah, I know it's true,
I mean,
but we hear
true.
it. Yeah, that's the problem. Is we're probably thinking too much of you. So you have to be in a pretty tight spot.
Do you like that?
What's that?
Like that pivot, that family pivot. God, I'm getting so good.
You get your kids under control.
Yeah, we're talking about pornography, and your 9-year-old walks in. You probably want to pivot.
That's
Daddy, what's pornography?
Probably a pretty good
you
idea.
see the sweat on my. This is like I'm pivoting.
Yeah.
Pivot.
And you see it didn't bother me at all. Like,
That's
it's
because
all good.
Yeah,
It's all
that
good.
says something.
It's
about
real,
you.
man. We're raw. We're real here.
Have you seen that movie Captain Fantastic with Viggo Mortensen?
Have not.
No.
He basically
Does this have to do with a 9-year-old or porn?
yes.
Who's
Okay.
Viggo Mortensen?
So
Have
he
no
was in Lord of the Rings. He's the Aragorn, the main guy. Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ever seen the movie
No.
Lord of the Rings?
No.
Who are you?
See Terminator.
I've seen The Sound of
Yeah,
Music.
of course I've
See
seen
Terminator. Sound of Music.
Yeah, Sound of Music.
Okay. what's-
Anyway, he
Saw Top Gun last week.
raises his children. He raises his children in the wilderness, basically, like
Okay.
without
Wolf people.
Yes.
Alaskan
and
Bush people. I've seen that
He's
show.
very brutally honest with his kids. So his 7 or 8-year-old asked what sex
You
was.
love brutally honest. Don't
Yeah,
get him
good.
started on
I'm
brutally
not-
And
I'm
honest.
not-
he tells him what sex is, the exact thing what sex is, a 7 and 8-year-old. So, and also like when they're sitting around the table, he asks, how did his uncle die? And he says, well, he committed suicide. And the people around the table are like, why are you telling an 8-year-old this? He's like, because he needs to know. That's the way we do it.
That's a win.
I just thought about that.
No,
When
I
she
think that's a
walks
really
in.
great. That's so classic. That's so classic. That's like people just absolutely saying, I'm going to put no effort forth, and I'm just going to take the easy way out.
Yeah,
That's
just tell the truth.
What?
Just tell them the truth.
That's
Tell them the
easy way
truth.
out.
Be brutally honest. Like, I'm not going to brutally honest, but that is the it's like you
How
go.
is that easy?
It is the easiest way
It's the
because you're
easiest
just telling
way
the
out.
truth. You're not explaining it.
You're not taking into consideration that that's your kid.
He shot himself in the head.
Right. You're shot himself in the
Now go
head.
do your homework.
Yeah. Exactly.
What?
Right. And the kid's like, he shot himself there. Yeah, he shot himself in the head. Did he die? No, not instantly.
Yeah, no.
No,
It
no.
took him a bit.
It took him
He
a
had
bit.
to bleed out first.
Right. Well, and then I think the sex part's interesting because you can tell your 8-year-old about sex exactly what it is, but it again, it totally depends. How graphic are you getting? You know, when a man and a woman come together and
No, he said penis and vagina.
that's, that's a little early. A little early. Did the kid ask?
Yeah, he asked. He asked because they were talking about sex. The adults were talking about sex.
So I have seen parents, 8's a little, but I've seen parents at about 8, 9, 10 get anatomically correct.
Mm-hmm.
And usually what happens, well, I won't bring my family, but usually what happens is you sort of tell your child, 8, 9, 10, a man puts his penis in the woman's vagina, and then they love each other, and then something comes out, and then there's eggs. And when 8, 9, 10,
They really don't comprehend.
well, at 8 and 9, they don't comprehend, and at 10, they're being grossed out already.
Right.
Right? And so usually that kind of ends it, because at 8 and 9, they're just like that. That's what it
See,
is.
I think as a parent, we don't need to talk about the anatomical aspects of sex
At
with
what
an 8 or
point?
9-year-old.
No, I'm not
First
saying.
of all, I think they're going to learn it in school well before we're ever going to get to it. They're going to see it in movies. They're going to realize that a man gets on top of a woman, vice versa. It's going to happen. I think the important part for a parent is to let them know about the love part.
I agree.
of it.
But
My
only,
mom told me, and I mentioned this the other day, she was the one that told me about the birds and the bees. And my dad never said anything about the
Of
birds
course
and
not.
bees
He was
because I'm a
too
guy. My dad was like, he'll learn, he'll figure it out. And
So
I
you
did.
would rather
And I
them
knew
learn-
about sex before my mom told me, but my mom gave me the piece that was missing about what the most important part of sex is. And that is, you're going to meet a woman. You're going to have a very special feeling for her. Your stomach's going to swirl up. You're going to feel very, very apprehensive. You're going to have anxiety, and you're going to fall in love with her, and she's going to mean the world. You can laugh your ass off if you want. I'm being serious.
No,
I'm being serious, and it
Very
changed my
serious. Look how serious
changed
he
my
is.
world.
I know.
It changed my world because I waited
But
till I
how-
was 22 because of what
but
she
how
told
old
me.
were you when that
14.
Okay.
Why can't your mother tell you about the love part and your dad tell you about the?
Because we already learned about that. Hell, we
But
were
he
looking
was
at Playboys
14.
when I was looking at the bra section in Sears
But
at
he's
9,
14, but he's 14. So
and I found myself when I was 8.
okay. Now you're oversharing.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
being real. But you guys, I mean, you want to think it's funny, but I mean, that was the part that
But that's
parents don't tell their kids about that. They think that we're just going to have sex and it's going to be on a whim. It's
not
going to be a
true.
one night.
That's
No, it
true.
is.
You don't-
No, more parents need to tell their kids, hey, listen. This is the way it's going to be. You're going to not everyone's going to fall in love first before they have sex. I
Right.
realize that, but in a perfect world, she's like, listen, you're going to meet someone, and hopefully you're going to fall in love with her. It's going to be very, very special, and there's going to be this attraction. You're going to look at each other in the eyes, and you're going to realize this is a very special moment. It's going to really mean something special, and that meant a lot to me.
But an 8 or 9-year-old, no. Again, at 14, I think that's totally appropriate. Also, because like you said, you're already looking at Playboy, right? You already know. But I'm saying at 8 or 9, you absolutely can say that. And usually at 8 or 9, if you're talking about sort of the emotional intimacy part, that's not what they want to know. Like at 8 or 9, they want to know, what is that thing and how does it work? And
Yeah,
what
but
is
I
it-
mean, okay, you can tell them what the thing is and what it works, but you don't have to talk about the two getting together yet.
Well, also it has to be probably part of your family culture where you are always very brutally honest with
never
your
brutally
kids.
honest, never brutally.
Have you ever had have you ever had the game where you drop the red peg into the red hole and the square peg in the square hole?
Never heard
That's
of it.
sex. They already know what it means.
Not at 8
They
or
look
9,
at dad and they
Tony.
see that thing, and they look at
Tony,
mom.
no,
There's a
that's not
hole there,
true.
and you're gonna say the
No.
two of us get together and we make
Tony,
love,
Tony,
and it's
they
very,
don't-
very special.
they
And they're
don't
gonna
know.
go, boom. I
I
said,
put my red round brick in her.
They don't.
exactly.
No, they don't.
Daddy parks his car in mom's garage. Oh, I saw Dad parking in the double decker last night. He must have gone in the parking garage. Da 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 da. There you go. And
They're
the kids are
wrestling.
alone.
They're just wrestling. They're just wrestling. No, look. God, you got.
What if they asked if
Yeah.
you ever park it in the basement?
Oh my God.
Dad came in the back of the garage. Is there a garage door in the back?
Well,
Yep.
Well,
Sometimes.
okay. I'm not even.
Depends on if mom's
Okay.
stretched out or not.
Can I just? Please let me just say. Please let me just say something psychological, just quickly, because I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna like crawl on my skin. Like I just.
What if you don't have a garage and you have a carport? Then you got problems. We don't have a garage.
Yeah.
Well, Mom's gender fluid. I don't know. I don't know what the hell.
Let your kid listen. You let your kid drive it.
Exactly.
You let your kid drive, and that's why I'm saying the whole thing about telling them too much. It's a simple formula, and the only piece
We went from Uncle Joe killing himself with a 45 into telling our kids about
Because
the
he
birds
said,
and bees.
You should watch the movie. It's called Captain Fantastic.
Listen, it is the easiest
I
thing.
guess so. Captain Fantastic.
Captain Fantastic.
Dad's Captain Fantastic, and Mom's Mrs. Incredible. Hello.
There was a movie called The Incredibles.
I know.
Listen, let your kids drive it. Let your kids drive it, but be ready to answer the questions that you don't want. So I mean it's a game. It's a total game. Your kid asks a question, you answer the question, right? And then you shut up. And you see you've had this recently, and then you see if they ask another question. If they ask another question, you answer it, and then you get there's definitely a point at which either they bail or they're asking you a question that you start getting a little bit uncomfortable. When you start getting a little bit uncomfortable, you got two choices. You either go for it uncomfortably and tell the truth, or you just make up a story.
Do you think it's important psychologically to actually answer your kids' questions to the
age appropriately? Age appropriately, because this is the thing. Because this is the whole thing about just being totally honest.
This is a Santa Claus real.
Well, no.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to be honest.
Well, Santa Claus,
of course,
was real. It was a
he is real. But I mean, that question is going to come up.
Do you have an answer? You have some great answer. What did your
mom tell you?
No, he's got a great. Yeah. What did your mom tell you?
Well, yeah.
Did you know that Santa Claus is not real?
I will say this: don't invite a priest to dinner around the holidays.
Oh, they tell you that it wasn't real?
Well, there was a Saint Nicholas. It was a saint.
There you go.
But it was
right.
Does he come down the chimney?
He kept asking questions to the point where and a priest will not lie. You just need to be a little careful.
I don't have any of these problems. I'm Jewish.
Santa Claus is real. I believe, I still believe in Santa Claus.
We got a menorah, and it's just real.
I know, right? I still believe in Santa Claus. So there you have it.
So you don't have to give too much information. You don't have to tell the whole story, and that's whether your kids or your spouse. We've talked about coming clean.
Yeah.
How much and that's where the brutally honest thing is too easy. It's too easy. Brutally honest is just.
I think girls get it a lot quicker than boys get it, just from the standpoint that girls
they got more going on.
No, well, they realize that they were in mom's belly. They learn a lot more about
they're smarter.
No, they learn more about the anatomy of how a baby is born, because my daughter's already talking about wanting to have babies. She's 9 years old. She thinks it's great. They hold babies. They see babies. They know bellies come out. They come out of mama's belly, and so there's a better opportunity for a mother or a father to explain to them, okay, mom and dad got together. We had a very special moment, and you were in mom's belly for 9 months, and you can't. They get that. They understand that, because they're in the boys don't want to hear about bellies and pregnancies and all that stuff. Not 8 or 9 years old, but girls do.
That's not true.
Because they love babies. Sure it is.
Not true.
Sure it is.
Boys ask too.
They do, but not as much as girls do. Boys aren't walking around with babies and holding diapers and all that stuff. Girls are already into this kind of things.
Okay.
If they're girls, unless they want to turn into a boy and compete in Oregon.
I like the way you're both arguing with each other, like you've read the research on.
Jury's like, unless they want to turn into a boy.
My boys never asked me about pregnancy.
Well,
I got a 16 and a 13-year-old, but I got a 9-year-old up there that asks me almost every single day about, she wants mom to have another baby. Well,
listen. So I definitely agree, because there's the similarity, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Where did I come from? Now, if you said, well, you came from daddy's belly.
Yeah, she's going to know that. Well, she thinks something could come out of there now.
Well, yeah.
And men can be pregnant too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you. Look, I'm making you.
Okay. I think it's different for every family. I think it's just different. I think a lot of kids are going to hear things at school, but I will say this to your point: you don't want them to learn firsthand at school, but they're going to, because kids are going to do that, and that's the way we learn things. We learned everything in school, and we had anatomy class at 12.
Don't you remember?
We were 12 years old when we had anatomy class. I already knew that the round hole went in the round peg when I was 12.
Because you couldn't find it out any other place, and you had to sign the release.
But what I wanted to learn about, what I really wanted to know about, was I wanted to see my loving mom and dad, who were married for 56 years, how they did it. And they explained that missing piece of the love part that no one talks about.
Okay.
It's all about the sex part.
No, but you hear what you just said?
I understand, Josh.
Look at you.
What are you, 12 years old this morning?
No,
what are you, 11?
No,
Do I need to explain the birds and bees to you about how a man and a woman get together and they make love and they have this wonderful child?
You're becoming too much of a psychologist and a softie. You drop an F-bomb or something. Like, what's happened to you?
I'm just talking about Terry Crews and porn. What do you want me to do?
I don't know, dude.
We want Archie Bunker back.
I know.
So what is it about, because I think we talked
he's got
about.
new shoes on and fancy socks.
Oh, you got new
Saying
shoes?
Those are nice.
There is nothing new on this. I got a very special meeting today after the show that I need to.
Well, you can tell because he's got matchy socks on.
Yeah, you got matchy socks.
It's the only pair of regular socks I have.
No, it's
Short ones
not.
don't look
Because you
good.
had last week, you had little hedgehogs
All
on
right,
them.
you want to talk an hour on socks here, or what are we doing
No,
here?
just go. Whatever the hell you want to
So the Terry Crews thing, I think, is
Yeah.
really interesting in
I
the
think-
fact that we're talking about an addiction, and I don't think a lot of people believe that you can be addicted to anything that is not medicinal
Yeah.
or something that you take into your body. And so that's kind of what I wanted to get into, and the fact that he's wanting to talk about this, because I didn't know that Terry Crews is a porn addict.
No, and I think, and I appreciate that he described what a porn addict is, like what he would. You know, there's a difference. You hear this all the time. I hate this. Anyone who watches porn is a porn. You know, as soon as you watch porn, now you're either a porn addict or you're going to become a porn addict.
Yeah.
It's the whole, once you start watching, you can't stop. That's not true. We've talked about the numbers of it. Remember when we did the whole porn show? It made you very uncomfortable. Remember that?
No, yeah. I mean, we talked about the things that a 22-year-old can do that a 55-year-old can't
Absolutely.
do. You can't get a spring break when you're 55. You're a creep. You can't watch porn, and you can't smoke dope.
That's right. Well,
You can't do those three things. No, you can't.
yeah, no,
You're
55.
now
Yeah.
pot's looked up, but you're a pothead. If you're
Yes,
smoking dope
right.
every day and you're 55, you're probably a loser.
But the porn addict is different than a guy or a gal watching porn. And like you said, Terry Crews said, "Don't come home." I mean, when you say don't come home because
Yeah.
I'm not in a good place, you might as well substitute. You could substitute in there heroin, cocaine, alcohol. I mean,
Yeah.
it is the same characteristic behavior. So we absolutely can become addicted. We have to use the word carefully. We can become addicted to non-substances where our brain craves more and more, right? And there becomes it's not just a tolerance. In porn, it gets weird because it's not just a tolerance for the type or the intensity. It's just the frequency of it. I need to watch it more and more in order to get that feeling. And it's very debilitating. But I hate when people say, well, if you watch porn, you're going to become addicted.
No,
No.
it's like saying if
Stop.
you drink, you're going to become an addict.
Well, but the people do that.
No, you're not. And it's almost impossible not to see porn somewhere. If you're on the internet, you're going to see something that's going to be, I mean, almost every site I'm on every single morning now, I go to some pretty lathered up sites. But if you go to CBS Sports, they have a girl of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's porn,
No.
but that's the beginning of porn.
Well, and that's why our kids, and I
If you're ever looking at anybody's body and objectifying it, that is the beginning. I'm not saying it's going to turn into porn, but that is the beginning.
Yeah,
if you're,
was-
and I know you guys are thinking about it a little bit, and you can sit there and say, "Well, that's crazy. I've been to a bikini contest." Well, why? Why'd you go to bikini?
You're objectifying it.
You don't
because
know the woman. You
they-
don't know what she's all about. You don't care about what her. I mean, the whole Miss Universe thing got canceled because of it. They didn't want to do the bikini part because no one watched
That's
it
why
anymore.
They're there.
Yeah.
That's why they're
Well,
doing
but if
what
you
they're
look
doing.
at a beautiful body, is that subjectifying it, right? So
Sure
is
it
that
is.
bad?
Not necessarily. No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just
okay.
saying that it is one doorway
Oh.
into. That's why you start with Playboy, and that's not enough. Then you
No,
go
you
to
start
Penthouse,
Sears
then you go to the
catalog,
girl
Sears
next to
catalog.
or Sears catalog. Yeah,
Okay,
you do.
that's right.
You do.
Victoria's Secret
And I
catalog.
think it's interesting because when you talk about like a porn addict, it's an ideology. It's something you're doing visually, right? It's not something you're ingesting. It's not something that you
Right.
continually.
But you-
like if you're a porn addict and you have no porn in the house, I mean, are you going crazy? I don't
Yeah.
know.
No,
So-
you're yes, because
Yeah.
you're missing it's the dopamine reinforcement.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a
And you think that just because if you're having a regular sex life with your wife, why would you become addicted to this thing that you could have whenever you wanted it? And it certainly affects their relationship as well.
Which could you have whenever you wanted?
If you're with a loving wife who
No,
will have
that-
sex with you whenever you want,
No, but that's
then you're
exactly-
like, okay,
No, but it's the flip.
Yeah.
Right? No, it's the flip. It's you can't have sex whenever you want it, but you can become sexually aroused and potentially please yourself whenever you want it because it's right here.
it doesn't mean any less. If you're a porn addict and you want to have sex with your wife, why?
because you love her.
Do you, or is it because you're sufficing your porn addiction?
Oh, no, that's interesting. No, I think it could be, it could be either. It could be either. So, oh, damn, this is, okay, hang on. So you absolutely could be addicted to porn because you love the arousal and the hit and the adrenaline rush, etc. But you still could want to make love to your partner for sexual gratification, but also, we were talking about 3 seconds ago, the love and the intimacy. What gets difficult, though, is to the degree to which only the porn arouses you, then you start having problems in the bedroom with your wife. But that's what I'm saying is you can still have a love relationship with your partner that you don't have with porn. Porn is a fantasy physiological piece. And a lot of times guys turn to porn, women too, but mostly guys, because the relationship in the bedroom is not good.
Yeah.
It's not right. So they turn to it and they think, well, this is okay. I'm fixing the problem.
Or it is good and the porn makes it worse. Because then based on what they watch and what they expect, they're not getting that from...
Yes, and it creeps in.
That's the biggest problem, because women will tell you, don't watch it before you see me because that ain't real.
Right.
It's a movie. Women don't like that. For the most part, they don't like that.
I don't know about that. You could probably film me in the bedroom and make a movie out of it.
Okay. I didn't hear that.
Just hang on. We just have to hold on to that for 1 second.
Did you have any more you wanted to say about that?
Not
because we could talk about it. You did a whole show. Well, you've done different shows on addiction, but I mean, you could be addicted to anything, right? Can't you?
Yeah, you can become obsessed with it, which is not always the same as addiction. But yes, you can feel it's compulsive. It's the whole compulsive gambling, compulsive shopping, compulsive anything. And I think, and it is similar to the substances. The only difference with the substances is the physical tolerance, withdrawal, damage to the body. You are not, if you're addicted to porn and we cut you off, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
Alcohol, and you're dependent, you could. Heroin, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's the difference, but the feeling of it, the withdrawal, they've done studies with the phone. Take the phone away from kids. Yeah. Kids become cranky. They are edgy. They don't feel good. They have headaches. I mean, it's that kind of thing. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah. Woman who's Australian goes and have her tonsils taken out, and she wakes up with this. What is it? It's only happened 100 times.
I already know. I'm not going to answer.
Oh, she has her tonsils taken out.
Yes, and she wakes up with this and has no clue how it happened.
Breast augmentation?
No, she's got foreign accent syndrome. She woke up Irish. She had an Australian accent. She woke up with an Irish accent. Am I supposed to know as a
psychologist?
Probably. It's only happened 100 times since 1907 since they started covering this thing.
Find this?
What part of Ireland is she from?
She's never been to Ireland, so she's like, I've never been to Ireland. I don't even know how. But she started talking. Her mom was like, "What are you doing?"
Happened?
She's like, "What are you talking about?" She didn't even know she was talking Irish, and she's like, "It's called foreign accent syndrome." Something happened, and I don't know if it's because they had something to do with her vocal cords. The fact that it was, I don't know if you have your arm amputated, if you could wake up with foreign. You have to look.
Dude.
Yeah, it messed the brain up, and now she speaks Irish. And she's wanting to sue the hospital because she loves her Australian accent. And I'm thinking to myself, if you could go in and have a simple surgery and wake up with an accent.
I wonder if it's something to do with who she was in a past life, and that past life pushed through. She was an Irish woman.
She didn't know?
In her past.
If I could wake up with a If I could wake up with a British accent, I think it'd be pretty cool. Now, I'd want to be able to see Nicole Kidman's amazing to me because she can have an Australian accent and she can speak normal. I say normal, typical.
Well, no, it's because they're acting.
No, but I mean, you can't just. I know acting, but to learn an accent.
Well, yeah,
is incredibly it's one thing to talk Bostonian or talk about a New York accent. It's one thing, but when you're talking about a total different ethnicity from a different part of the world, Like I could practice a British accent for a year and never sound British. I'd sound like a Southern Midwestern guy with a British accent. I wouldn't sound British.
Are you taking lessons for a year? Or are you just practicing for a year?
Lessons?
Yeah, okay.
You would sound British if you took lessons for a year.
I may do that.
If you were taking real lessons.
So like we can just use us. Okay, first of all, it is.
And then you could speak. It'd be like being bilingual, right? Then you could talk normal, or you could have a British accent.
That's not bilingual. That's bi.
No, but I mean, you can learn multiple languages, but right?
Right.
If I'm on Tinder and I realize a girl's really liking a dude into British accents, do you like British accents? Then I'm using that British accent.
Yeah, or you can just talk normal.
But do I have to work at it?
Just listen. So this is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
Can you call a Southern accent? Can you Southern?
That's where I was going.
Can I do Southern? Yeah, I can do Southern.
So listen.
See, I don't sound Southern. That sounds like you trying to be Southern. That's not Southern.
How's it not Southern?
He is
That's
Southern.
not Southern. Just because you're talking dumb doesn't mean you're Southern.
No, he is Southern. So first of all, it is a brain. You can have it from a stroke. You can have it from a migraine. This foreign.
A migraine?
Yeah.
Oh, I may have a migraine today.
It's just that you can't control it. So it is. It does have to do with your speech. The speech
it's like a
mutant.
brain. It's like a mutation in your brain.
Well, a lesion. No, it's a it's an interruption or it's brain damage. Basically, it's brain damage, and so
that's some cool ass brain damage.
It is
tonsils.
Yes. Well, yeah. So let's do this. The Southern thing's a great example. It's a great example. So when I moved here, I spoke like whatever I spoke, and within I don't know a year, I'd call home and my parents were like, "What happened to you?
Yeah,
you sound like you sound like you're from Alabama." Now I have two kids. Both my kids. One has more of an accent. The other has less. Both can put it on super thick or turn it back.
Now, my acting coach told me that the Southern accent, the inflections of a Southern accent is the closest to an English accent there is.
I thought it was closest to Southern California surf dude.
It's interesting, too, because when you get around a bunch of other Southern people, you find yourself talking like a Southern person. Or when I get around my black friends, I start talking black.
Yeah.
Urban. You say it?
Yeah. No,
and my black friends start talking more white when they're around me.
Banana in the tailpipe.
What's that mean?
Did you see Beverly Hills Cop?
Oh, yeah.
Banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what a great.
I'm the sheriff, and I'm here to talk to you. You talk very articulately.
So listen, we're going to do an experiment with my son. My son was born and raised in Birmingham. He's got a dad, me, from Southern California, mom from Kentucky, but she didn't have much of an accent. He has not much of an accent, but can put on thick, but he's about to go to England.
Yeah.
He's going to be there for at least a year, maybe 2 years. We're going to see what happens. Does he pick up some of the accent? Everybody who moves to the South picks up Southern accent.
Sure.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's an accent.
Or
they talk differently, yeah.
It's more of a draw than an accent.
They start saying fiction too and all the stuff that
no one
they
says
go on
fiction
with
too, only you do.
I do. I never said fiction too, and I promised I wouldn't.
Do you say Mike could?
I do because I love it. I think it's great.
Mike could?
Huh?
No, fiction. Do you say Mike? Do you say Mike could?
No, I don't say Mike could.
I don't say Mike could.
But I do say fiction too, just because it gives me a little more time to formulate what I'm going to say afterwards. I think that's why Southerners use it. They say I'm fixing to, and it gives them a chance to go make dinner tonight, as opposed to saying I'm making dinner tonight. It's more.
Oh, it's a pause.
It's a pause. It's a crutch.
It's like a or a.
It's you when you swallow.
You do. You have a loud swallow.
You swallow when you about ready, when you can't quite formulate the next word.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
It's because I don't say.
I do it too. We all have crutches. Well, I do the same thing.
I don't say as much.
Yeah.
I used to say
I can't stand people that use like in literally every other word.
Well,
it's like literally
that's Southern California.
That is the worst.
That's Southern California.
I can't be friends with any of those type of people.
How judgy are you?
I'm very judgy.
I used to get in trouble as a kid.
It's a lack of intelligence.
I got in trouble as a kid. Is every time I said like or so I come from that like and every time my parents would take my allowance away, until which time I didn't say anymore. But that's a regional and a generational thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
TV people use the word so. Watch TV. When they're going from one story to the next, they'll throw the word so, and I don't know why. They'll go, so today in the news, and it has nothing to do with the story. It's a crutch. It's what they do where they'll say now. It's like I'm watching you now. You don't need to tell me now. It's like saying we're located at 1813. You don't need to tell me you're located at. You're telling me the address. Come see us, 1813, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to say we're located at. I know you're located at because you're giving you the address.
High rate of speed. They were speeding at a high rate of speed. They were going at a high rate of speed.
So if you could wake up with a different accent, first of all, would you do it?
No.
And second of all, what would you be? Okay, if you could do it for a year, just say I could have an accent for a day, what would you want to be? It would be cool because British people sound just cool.
Yeah,
I know that they sound very affluent and very uppity.
British people, yeah,
for the
even
day,
when they sound so much more civil, even when they're not being civil. They
Right.
just,
Yeah.
so that's so interesting because why? Why is that to us?
That's how English is actually
it's
supposed
royal,
to sound, though.
It's the whole royal thing to me.
But that's how English is supposed to sound.
Which
that
English?
is their
The
language.
Queen's English?
English.
What's
That's
our,
their language,
what's
not
ours?
English. But they had it first,
Yeah.
so that's how.
So when we
English
got it,
is
when we
supposed
left
to sound.
across the ocean, like we went across, then we got like rough.
This
guess. I
is
don't know what-
this
I
is
don't know
very
what
interesting though, because if I started talking British,
Well, people would think you're
I would act different.
right.
Would you?
I would
you
act
use your
different. Or if
pinky
I
more?
started talking urban, or I started talking
Yes.
white, or I started talking Irish, if I didn't know what it was going to sound like when I spoke, and I came out and said, "Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea?" If I started talking British,
You'd
I
sit
don't
up
know,
straighter.
I do that to my daughter all the time. I was like, "Would you like a spot of tea?" She's like, "Shut up,
That's
Dad."
Julia Childs. You're just doing
If I started talking British, but I didn't know it was going to sound like that when I came out,
I'd
I
freak
think I'd stand up a
You
little
stand up,
higher,
yes.
and I would probably dress differently. Start wearing top hats and watching Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
I don't know.
That's how it's a show.
Oh, you never seen Mr. Bean?
I mean, I've
Don't
heard
talk
of it,
about
but he
Captain-
doesn't speak, right?
Marvel Fantastic movies, and you haven't seen Mr. Bean?
He doesn't speak.
You know,
though.
Jill's named her car
He
Mr.
does.
Bean.
He makes him murmurs a little bit. He does speak a little bit, though.
Oh, okay.
What if you sounded like? What if you woke up and spoke like Pee Wee Herman?
What if I woke up and was Benny? What if I woke up and I was Benny Hill?
Yeah, see that?
Then I'd have to be running around really fast and playing yakety sax, but chasing women.
I can't. I don't have an accent that I. See, I always thought growing up on the West Coast, I thought Southern accents were cool.
That's another. Sorry, I interrupt you. That's another comedic actor.
Who?
That's a great serious actor. Is Pee Wee
Benny.
Herman? Pee Wee Herman. If you see him in his dramatic
He
stuff,
would probably
He is a
be
great
one of the most
dramatic actor.
iconic actors we've ever had he not had the movie theater incident.
Is it? Well, that's just.
And because he did a adult child show,
Yeah.
that killed him. That killed him.
What's his real name?
I have no idea. It was a great show. The Pee Wee Herman adventure movies were great.
yeah.
I mean, they were the Fred Flintstones of our time.
That's
They were
right.
because there was some, but the fact that he did that creepy thing in the
Yeah.
back of the movie theater with his milk duds, that was the part was kind of like,
There's
okay,
milk duds.
that was milk duds, all right.
He used his milk duds.
You know what happened?
No, I know what happened.
Someone got shot in the back of the head with something. That's the problem.
Did you know what? Do you know? Yeah. Did you know about that?
That's impressive.
All right, so I want to get into one final thing because I know our show can't go on forever.
Yes, they can.
People watch forever.
No, they can.
So I had we talk a lot of child stuff on the show, and I have a 13 and 16-year-old.
Right. Yeah, you were telling me about this.
And I wasn't going to mention this because I don't like to talk about my kids a whole lot, but I do
Don't
because
just
I'm a
keep-
parent.
Keep it, yeah.
So I was in Vegas like 15, 16 years ago, and that's when I learned about manscaping, right? And once you manscape, I don't go all the way, but if I go manscape, and I did it because I got waxed on the show. We did something where, let me take it back a little bit. We had a bet where if I lost, I was going to get waxed, and so we waxed me live on the air. And it was incredibly painful. I was bleeding.
Yeah.
It was. I got really drunk the night before just so I could get through
Oh,
it, and
that's
I
not
started
good.
bleeding.
Yeah,
out.
you
So it
don't
was
wanna do
horrible. But after that, the guy who helped me do it, and there's a woman there who did it, he's like, "You're going to want to be this way from here on out. It's
smooth.
amazing. You're smooth, and your wife's going to love it.
Yeah.
And everything looks better, and you're going to enjoy it." He's like, "I'm not saying all the way, but you're just like
Trim
a
it
man
back.
loves it when his woman does it, right?"
Yeah.
This ain't the 1983 penthouse thing where it looks like buckwheat in a headlock down there, right? We talk a lot of black and white stuff. So I did it, and so afterwards I was like, there's your Archie Bunker for you. So
Buck White.
screw you, Buck White. Darlene says my dictate. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, and so it's right. So I started doing it. So I go to Vegas. And my brother, who lives in the woods, doesn't have
gonna go
running
long, by the
water,
way.
he goes to Vegas. He comes out of the shower. I come in the shower, and he's like, dude.
Tony, dude.
He's like, what happened? And I was like, what do you mean? You got cancer or something? Like, no. No. I trimmed it back. And he's like, why? And I said, because it feels better. It doesn't get so hot. and it's not uncomfortable. It doesn't bind, it doesn't pull. And now that I've done it, I've been doing it for about a year, and I love it. And he goes, that's crazy. And he's a hunter. He's a guy's guy.
Yeah. He's got back hair that attaches to his ears.
I don't have back hair, but he's, I'm like, I said, you should try it. I said, his wife's name's Nancy. I said, she would love it. And he goes, she would, first of all, she'd think I was cheating. And I said, well, let her do it for you. Maybe you could have a trimming night. I'll do you, you do me. You'll see what happens. And I said, wouldn't you like it if she did it? And he goes, yeah, but I'd never bring it up. And I said, why? She may want to do it, and she doesn't want to do it because she's afraid that you may think she's cheating. Well, so I said, have a night where you get like some trim and have trim night, and then play naked twist or whatever. So anyway, he's like, and I'm like, I'm telling you, dude, it'll change your life. It'll change your life.
That's right.
It's really comfortable, and I don't know too many dudes that don't do it anymore. We don't talk about it. We don't walk in, hey, who manscapes in here? But there's a company now, manscaping.com. Yeah. It's a trimmer just for that.
Not a sponsor.
And
not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
Cut back a little on the armpit hair, and you find yourself, and you're like, what else can I do? First starts with the ears and all that stuff. I know the ear hair sucks, the nose hair, and that it sucks. I hate it, and I don't see the air here.
You don't see it.
I don't see it, and then I'm like, really? And my hairdresser's like, dude, you need to trim your ears. I'm like, really? And then the eyebrows look like you got flipping caterpillars on them. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
At least you got a nice head of hair. That's all I got.
Well, the rest of it is good.
Yeah.
So here's my dilemma, and I reached out to a pediatrician about this last night because I was weird. So my 13-year-old son has got special needs, so check it back a little bit. He's from Guatemala, and Guatemalans traditionally are very, very hairy. They grow a lot of hair. It's funny because they usually lose a lot of hair on top.
That's interesting.
There's not a lot of Guatemalans that have full heads of hair, but they grow hair everywhere else. They have very chest hairy backs.
That's interesting.
And he's 13, and he's still got some motor skill issues and stuff, so I help him get ready at night, bathe and stuff. And it's like, wow. It's growing like kudzu. And I'm like, dude. And I said, and cognitively speaking again, thinking of he's about 6 or 7 or 8 years old.
Okay, that's important.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Daddy can help you.
Yeah.
And of course he doesn't want anything sharp near him. It's like, no, it doesn't hurt. It's not scissors or anything. It's just a little shaver you only feel. It's like the stuff on the back of your neck. And he was like, really? And I said, yeah. And I said, it'll probably be a lot more because he does everything his dad does. My dad used Johnson powder down there, and I was like, I'll never do that because the whole bathroom was filled with powder. It looked like it was like some Studio 54 Coke movie. There was powder everywhere. It's like you get high just walking through the place. And my wife hates it because it gets dusty all over the place. I'm like, whatever, it's comfortable, and I still do it.
A little talc.
If I don't, it's great.
Oh,
it's wonderful.
You do that, Brent? Do you talk?
I do talc.
Yeah, talc a little.
Gold Bond.
It's great.
Gold Bond. Oh, Gold Bond.
No, I would not use talc if I was going on a date.
No, because
next thing you know, it gets if anything happens, God bless you, it doesn't. Especially the stuff with the aloe because it numbs your teeth. It does. I've had women go, my teeth are numb. I'm like,
okay, you just went way.
Yeah, you want an Archie Bunker, you got it. So then I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a little bizarre. This is like a woman. It's like a mother teaching her daughter how to shave her legs for the first time.
Yeah, only even more intimate.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's even
right.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking. So I reached out to a friend of mine. I said, "Is there a particular age when?"
Yes.
And I certainly wouldn't make him do it.
No.
It's got to be a guy thing. If you want to, you look like you have a wool sweater on every morning, wool sweater underwear, then knock yourself out. But I'm just telling you, it's a hell of a lot more comfortable. Now I don't like to go all the way because then I can't stop touching myself. Then I feel like it's like sticking your wee-wee between your legs. Look, I'm a girl. I won't do that.
That's called a mangina.
Exactly, mangina, right? And I still do that. Or I'll do the helicopter thing because And by the way, if you trim the bushes down a little bit, the yard looks bigger. Get it? Right?
Look at him.
And you can also paint the house white. That makes the house look bigger, but that's a different story for a different time.
Wait, paint the
So
house
I asked, I said...
No, he's talking about something else.
Are you painting the garage too?
Okay, go.
The carport.
Do you see time?
And so I said, first of all, is this weird that I'm asking him to do this for him? And again... taking into account that he's got special needs, okay? I would never do this with my 16-year-old, although I think he's getting to an age where I'm like, hey, have you ever considered, but we're not in a situation where we see each other coming out of the shower. But when I take him to Vegas in a few years, I'll probably go, hey, dude, give that back a little bit. And so he's like, no. He said, not at all. He said, I'm glad you brought that up. This is really interesting because I see urologists have the same issue. You know, if you 16, 17, 18-year-old has to go to a urologist, they'll usually, and you need to check that out. If you're not circumcised, there's different things that urologists have, and that's something that they're usually not asked about.
Right.
But that is something where this may make you feel a lot more comfortable if you want to cut that back a little bit. And he's like, no, not at all. That's totally normal at that age. And I could not imagine. My dad telling me at the age of 13, hey, you may want to trim that back. Because back then, my dad lived for 81 years, and there was never a haircut down there. And I'm wondering, can you? And so if you're going to do the hair, you see these NBA players, and every night they have a different color hair. I wonder why.
You could.
I wonder if they don't braid it.
No, be careful. Oh, braiding. I'd be real careful.
Braiding cornrows?
No, okay. You got to have someone else do that.
That's cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
You can't do that.
No, but it's all kinky though. It's the hair the same. It's all kinky.
Oh, jeez. We're in full Archie Bunker mode now.
Yeah.
And
so I'll just let you know, you fathers out there know, because when you see your son, and if you do it, then what I would probably do though is I'd probably get in the shower and I would trim first. And he'd probably say, "What are you doing, Dad?" And I'm like, "Oh, this makes Dad," because if he's already using the powder and he's doing things like his dad do, then maybe he'll want to do it himself. Because I think it's something. I cannot believe that we actually went through life without manscaping until like 20 years ago. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
Have you seen pictures of the 80s or 70s and 80s?
Oh, if you look at the old Penthouse magazines, it's like, dude, I'm not saying I wouldn't go for it, but I'm like, dude. And now I don't know. I haven't seen one that has not.
Well groomed.
Exactly. It could have like the beautification award outside of it. Mm-hmm. Put a sign next to it.
Can you just say
Yard of the Year? You got a Yard of the Year. You should know all about Yard of the Year, boy. You still got that T-shirt.
Can you just say one more time?
Sure.
That your child is 13, though, with special needs.
He is.
No, this is important. Because what you do not want to do, it's just what you said. I've got to get the psychological.
So you only manscape or womanscape if you have a HOA.
HOA.
Homeowners Association.
Please don't. Can I please say this? Please do not go to your 13-year-old as a dad and say, "Son, I think you need to trim it back." You will mortify your child.
No, the way you do it, like a dad does, is you do it first. Let them kind of inadvertently see you doing it, and then they'll probably ask the question, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And it's like, it just really makes me feel much more comfortable. And
can I try?
If you were to learn, it's shaving.
Yes,
it's shaving.
It's exactly.
You get that caterpillar thing on there, and you want to keep it because you have a mustache for the first time, and so you don't want to shave it. And then at one point, it starts looking like you haven't shaved, and you're 17 years old. You need to shave your face,
right?
And of course, the first thing you say is when you shave, it comes back, and you're going to have to shave every day. Because once you shave, you're going to start shaving every couple of days.
Strong.